Hi, it's Leia. Welcome to this episode of Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life. It's time again for our weekly reading. And here is the deck that we are using. Starman Tarot. Inspired by the artworks especially created for David Bowie. If you are a Bowie fan, you might particularly enjoy this video. Like I always say, this is not a predictive reading. You can use what comes up as inspiration for your journaling, or simply as food for thought, points to ponder. And if you're ready, let's go ahead and see what messages there are for us this week. Let's flip over card number 1. Let's put it over here for a second. This is the Ten of Wands. If you'll notice, the artwork is very busy. The colors are very electric. There's a lot of energy in this deck. But yeah, back to card number 1. I find it interesting that we get the Ten of Wands because not too long ago I posted a love and relationships reading using an entirely different deck. It was Ethony's Modern Love Tarot. And the Ten of Wands came up. Okay, so here's what we can think about with this card. What burdens are you currently carrying? Examine whether your load is something that you're actually okay carrying right now. Is it something that was passed on to you or maybe expected of you? To give an example, sometimes family responsibilities are seen as obligations, and before we can question whether we are fine with bearing that load, we're already doing it because it's wired into us, only to find later on that we are now resentful. When we think about it, it wasn't something that we want to do. But then again, some of the things that we carry are not so much of a burden as they are, sure, heavy, and you can feel the weight, but we don't mind because it leads to a result that we are very intentional about. That doesn't mean, however, that you shouldn't take a break or that you can't enjoy the pleasures around you or that life has to offer just because you're in the middle of carrying something. So it could be time to evaluate whether we want to set this load down permanently or maybe for just a few moments because we truly do want to bear that load. Maybe you have goals that you're on your way to achieving, but you do want to take a little bit of a breather right now. For some out there, and you'll know that this is you because you connect with it, it speaks to you. It could be that you're so close to reaching the end, to reaching the finish line, and all you really wanted to hear was someone telling you, you got this, you can do it. So if that's you, I'm telling you now, I'm cheering you on. Now let's move on to our second card, which is number 8 from the Major Arcana, Strength. I find it fascinating to get the Strength card after the Ten of Wands because I immediately see a connection. Where in your life right now do you feel like you have to be strong? Do you need any help or support and you just haven't said so because you feel like this is something that you should do alone? Or maybe you don't want to appear weak, so you just keep soldiering on. You just keep pushing on. Or for some, it could be that you don't want to share that burden with others because you're imposing upon them. But let me ask you, how are you? How's your mental health? Do you feel like you're about to buckle under that load? More than anything, do you want someone to extend a helping hand, or to give you a hug, or to tell you to stop for just a few moments and rest? Go ahead and tend to yourself. Because for some, you do recognize that this is something that you have to do. Maybe you're going through trials right now that are especially for your growth, and you know that you have to go through them. But a reminder for you is that doesn't mean that you can't at least share what you're going through with someone. And if you feel like the people in your life aren't qualified to be able to support you, just to give an example, sometimes we tell someone what we're going through and then we feel like they shame us or mock us. So we decide, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna do this all by myself. If that's the case for you, maybe you can look at resources where you can get support, be it from going to meetings or through a counselor of some sort. And it's going to be different for everyone. I know that different people have different means of what we can afford and what's available to us. But even something along the lines of coming across the right book or video or movie or song that really moves us and encourages us and tells us what we need to hear in that moment so that we can find that strength within ourselves. Sometimes that's all it takes. In connection to that message from the Ten of Wands earlier, if you want to set down that burden for a little bit, maybe it's time that you gave yourself permission to do so. And now let us see what card number 3 is. It's the Princess of Cups. What I want you to do now is to go back in time. Think about how you were when you were younger. Were you more idealistic? What did you hope life was going to bring your way? What did you hope you were going to accomplish? How did you hope the people you were going to encounter were going to treat you? And then let's fast forward to now. How does what your younger self expected the world and the people in it to be measure up against what actually happened on the way, on the path, all the way to today? Do you find yourself jaded? Do you find that you've given up on certain dreams and certain goals because of expectations that you now consider to be unrealistic? If so, I see this moment that you're watching this and listening to this as an opportunity for you to think about how, even if life did not necessarily go the way that younger you wanted, how might you have created a narrative that isn't exactly true and you still carry it with you to this day? And what I mean by that is, maybe you can take an objective look now at some of your greatest disappointments, events in your life or situations that kept you from continuing with your dreams or pursuing goals that once meant so much to you. Do you think it's possible that you may have generalized? And we don't necessarily do this on purpose. Sometimes the mind sees an event, and in order to protect us from feeling that disappointment again, it creates these generalizations where maybe it goes, oh, I got hurt by being in a relationship with someone that I trusted so much, so I'll never trust someone that way again. Then from that moment on, you put up walls and you never quite fully are present in relationships. And it turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And because it happens over and over again where your relationships just don't work out, you keep reminding yourself, yeah, I was right. It's fine that that relationship ended. What you could do now is to be honest with yourself and admit what goals or dreams you still want to fulfill, even though you've experienced disappointment over and over again. It's possible that with a change in mindset, a reframing, you could still have what you wanted after all. You could end up someday being really glad because there was something worth pursuing in your future you didn't give up on. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope you found some insights and some bits of inspiration to work on, to journal about throughout this week. If you enjoyed this, we'll have another one coming at the end of the week, and there will also be videos in between. Point being, there's so much more to come. Until next time, bye for now. Lots and lots more fun Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life coming soon.